Hi there, I'm Cynical Siebel. Welcome back to Rayman Origins. This is the second episode, so if you haven't seen the one before, go and watch that. I also did a quick episode on Rayman 1, 2, and 3, so you can go back and watch those as well. But I forgot to show you last time. The first time I played this game was actually on the Xbox 360. So yeah, I've got this disc right here, and I think it's an excellent game. I think Legends is also an excellent game. But, that said, it is a little bit light on plot. And so, what I'm thinking to do here... Oh, my controller's not working. I have to hit enter first. Alright. So what I'm thinking to do is start a new section. Tell me if you like it or not, but I'm thinking to start trailer tales. So I grew up in trailer parks for the majority of my childhood. I mean, even through college. And that led to, you know, some interesting stories. And so while I can't talk about the plot of this game that much because there's just not that much to talk about, I have some rather unique stories to tell. And so maybe that'll be a fun thing to do while we play this game. So, I figured I'd start right off, you know, at the very beginning. So when I was a kid, I lived in Minnesota. I was actually born in Utah, but then I moved to Minnesota really early on, from like 2 to 5, age 2 to 5. And there was this kid that was just like the absolute worst kid you ever meet, right? Like, I know everybody's like, oh, you know, kids are inherently good. I don't know, this guy was just a stinker. He was horrible. Anyway, so... He, oh, whoops, that's a hole. That's not good. So his name was Dustin, and I always, like, struggled with kids named Dustin for a while after that, just because I was like, oh, that guy was such a jerk, and his name was Dustin. Anyway, he was the sort of kid that would, he would go to the playground and pee down the slide just to mess with people, right? And so, you know, we all knew that the slide was covered in urine, and so we would just never use the slide. But, you know, some new kid that moved into town, he'd go down there and end up getting stuck halfway down the slide because it's all sticky and gross, right? Anyway, so, nobody liked this kid. But, you know, we tried to at least coexist peacefully. It was fine. So one day I go outside, and Dustin here, and Dustin lived 2 trailers down from mine, and Dustin had a big, like, long PVC pipe, and he was hitting people on the head with it, right? And this was not like a, you know, a small pipe. Like, it probably was a good 6 feet long, and he was chasing people around and smacking them on the head. And there were these 2 girls that I had a crush on. And I decided I was going to be the hero, right, and save these 2 girls. And so I run over there and I pull the PVC pipe out of his hands and I hit him on the head with it, right? And so he runs off crying, and I'm the hero. And the girls come over, they're like, "Oh, thank you so much, Rob. You're the best," right? So I'm feeling pretty good about myself. And suddenly Dustin's drunk father comes outside. And he has a gun, which he proceeds to shoot at me. Yeah, so trailer park in rural Minnesota. And this guy's, I mean, I moved away from Minnesota before I turned 6, so I was at the latest 5 years old. And this guy shot his pistol at me. Now, whether or not he was trying to actually hurt me, you know, I couldn't say, right? He was drunk, so, you know, I don't know. But even if he was trying to miss me, he was also drunk, which means he could have just as easily have hurt me. Anywho, it all worked out fine. I ran away and, you know, hid inside. It's all good. But yeah, thus is, you know, the life of rural Minnesota trailer parks. Very, very interesting times. And in Utah, I lived in a trailer park, but I don't actually remember, like, anything from the trailer park because I was just so little, right? I mean, I was 2 when I moved away. So maybe there's like one memory I have that's maybe from there, but like, it's just not clear, right? Anywho, so this kid, Dustin, I mean, we all disliked him after that, but then something happened to him that made us all actually feel bad for him, which was that he was riding in the back of his dad's car, and as they pulled into the driveway, he decided to like get out early and his dad was drunk, and his dad ran him over. Like, it didn't kill him or anything. He was going super slow, right? But it, like, definitely hurt him, and he ended up in a double leg cast for months because of this. And we did feel bad about that, especially since we hadn't exactly been nice to him in recent months, given his propensity to do mean things like pee on the slide and hit everybody with pipes. Alright, we found 2 of the crates here, not bad. Alright, what other crazy stories are there about Minnesota trailer park life? So the trailer park was right next to a cornfield, and we weren't supposed to play in the cornfield, but I didn't really understand why. And then one day I saw the thresher out there, and it threshes up the corn, and that's why we weren't supposed to play out there, because, you know, you can get chopped up in the corn thresher. But it was also really close to a freeway. And so we went over to the freeway, and we would, you know, do dumb things next to the freeway. Oh, we've got a new character here. Anywho, so one day, I decided I was going to go hang out with Dustin, because, I don't know, I guess I'm a glutton for punishment. So we go to the freeway, and he decides that he's going to start throwing rocks at cars. Now, I mean, I wasn't maybe a good kid. Oh, wait, way to go. You saved luck tunes to repair the path and reach a new world at last. Oh, nice. So I wasn't like a good kid per se, but I also wasn't like a horrible kid or anything, right? And so I knew I shouldn't be, you know, I knew that I should not be throwing rocks at cars. And so I was like, well, you know, I don't want to cause a big stink, so what I'll do is I will just, I won't throw them at the cars, right? I'll just throw them in between the cars, and then it'll all be fine. And so, you know, I'm throwing them in between the cars, and so essentially I'm missing every time. And, you know, it's going all right until this trucker decides to pull over. And we didn't hit his truck or anything, but he just saw that, you know, we might. And he didn't like that, of course. So he pulls over. Again, just remember, this is rural trailer park, Idaho. It's a different beast of a place. Or not Idaho, sorry. This was Minnesota. I moved to Idaho eventually, but this was still Minnesota. And so he pulls over and we start running, right? But he's a bigger guy. He catches up to us and he picks us up and shakes us and is screaming at us. I don't remember what he said. You know, probably something like, "Yeah, you could kill somebody." I don't know. Something fairly reasonable, probably. But he literally picks us up and he's shaking us and he throws us down the hill because the freeway's kind of like up a hill and he throws us down the hill. And I just go, you know, that's not the sort of thing that would fly in this day and age. Like, that totally would get you sued. Doesn't matter how reasonable it is that, you know, kids are throwing rocks at your cars. But the best thing about living in a trailer park in rural Minnesota was just some of the weird, quirky people that lived in the trailer park. So there was this dude, and he would just hang out all day on his, you know, Harley Davidson out in the driveway of his trailer. And of course, you know, we weren't supposed to go over there because, you know, he's a stranger. But he had Otter Pops, and he would just give us Otter Pops all the time. This dude, like, I swear, any disposable income he had, he just invested in Otter Pops. Oh, we'll get all the loons. Oh, wait. Oh, that's not a bad thing. Okay. All right. So, you know, even though we're not supposed to go over by the stranger, he's got Otter Pops, so we were there, like, 24/7. It was the best. And this dude, I mean, he was nice. He never did anything bad. You know, it was great. But at the same time, you go, man, just handing out Otter Pops and being a big biker dude is enough to get you in trouble in this day and age. But, you know, that was life. Rural Minnesota, huh? Getting greedy for the looms. I want to get all of them. I missed one so far, but let's see if I can get some more of these. Alright, so far so good. I don't even remember the dude's name. Oh, dang. For some reason, I thought those were bad guys for a second. That was dumb with me. But, yeah, he was just a really cool dude that gave us Otter Pops and candy, and it sounds creepy, but it really wasn't. And then the trailer next to his burned down, which, you know, you're never supposed to, like, my parents were adamant that we were not supposed to go to, you know, the burned down lot, because, you know, there might be glass or, you know, meth or I don't know what else in there, but, you know, bad stuff. So, of course, we went there, and my sister and I, we took, like, the kitchen colander so that we could use it to search for treasure. And so we're sifting through, you know, all this burnt down rubble, looking for, you know, just anything that might be interesting to a kid. And we found what looked like a bullet. Now, you know, it wasn't fired, but of course, as a kid, we were convinced, you know, that this bullet had been fired and that there had been a murder and that the burning down the trailer was a cover-up to the murder. You know, just interesting things kids like to think for their own enjoyment, I guess. I don't know. But it was kind of cool that we found a bullet. And then, you know, that bullet made the rounds through the trailer park because all the kids wanted a bullet. And so, you know, you could trade it for anything, right? Like, we used to have that Big Chew bubblegum, we'd trade for that, or those bubblegums that were like cigarettes. They looked like cigarettes, and so we'd trade them for that. Because again, you know, most candy was, you know, the best sort of currency you could get. But a bullet? Yeah, that was, you know, that was like the trump card. And so, yeah. What else? I probably should have planned this out a little bit better. I was like, oh, we'll just play games and I'll tell stories because I'm known to tell stories. But normally when I'm telling trailer park stories, it's with my buddies Clipper and Frosty. And so, you know, the conversation just kind of flows because they'll be like, you know, what about this? What about that? And they'll ask about weird things until it reminds me of a story. Ooh. X1 to inhale. Oh, so I can inhale these things and use them as projectiles, okay? Alright, and then I assume I fire it with the same one? No, I fire it with A. Alright. Alright, I'll probably stop talking here for a second so I can actually, you know, do a better job. Oh, dang it. He ate me. How far back am I? Am I all the way at the beginning? Probably. Alright. So I can inhale these barrels and spit them out. Oh. So if I don't spit them into him, he uses them as ammo. There we go. So we gotta get him a little bit quicker than I was before. I don't know if shooting him actually does anything, but you know, we'll give it a go. Oh, that was interesting. I thought I was going to hit that other one and just, you know, be in the way, but no, that worked great. Alright, so I mentioned the two girls that I had a crush on. I don't remember their first names actually because I was so little, but their last name was Tool, because I know it was the Tool family. And so, one winter in Minnesota, I was escorting them home because, you know, you gotta keep them safe from the Dustins of the world who are gonna, you know, throw pipes at, hit him with pipes and throw rocks at him, stuff like that, right? I think it was Lori and another L name, maybe like Linda or something. Anyway, so I'm escorting these two girls home. I think they're both a little bit older. I mean, not much older than me, but a little bit, right? And, you know, I escort them to their front door and I drop them off, and it's the middle of winter in Minnesota. And if you've never been in Minnesota in wintertime, it's like way worse than any other winter you could think of, right? Like, I ended up living in Idaho, and it pales in comparison to how bad Minnesota is. Minnesota is just crazy cold. Crazy bouncing, huh? So I dropped them off, and I decided for some idiotic reason that I was going to pretend that I was kissing them. So, you know, they're inside their house now, right? Stop the silliness, right? Don't get bubbleized before your time. Take share the love, extra go with your friends. Nobody needs love, extra love gives you looms. Alright, don't get crushed. Uh-oh, is this a speed one? We will see. Alright. So, anyway, I decide that, you know, I'm gonna practice kissing outside their house. I don't know, because maybe they'll see and they'll see, you know, like how good I am at kissing, and then, you know, then they'll want to kiss me or something. I don't know. You know, weird little kid thoughts that you have. So, the closest thing was the trailer park flagpole, which was right outside their house. And I think, you know, most of you can probably tell where this is going, because I'm like a 4 or 5-year-old and I don't know any better. So, what is that about? Right there. Is that gonna hurt me if I touch that, I assume? Yep, it does hurt me. Okay, I just had to know. Anywho, so, you know, exactly what you think is gonna happen happens, and my lips get super stuck to this flagpole, like insanely stuck. To this day, you know, I've never had my lips stick on anything even near that bad, and I can't get away, and I'm embarrassed to like call for help because I'm outside these girls' house that I like, and so I'm sitting there with my lips stuck, and they're getting colder and colder, and I'm like, oh no, what am I gonna do? I don't know what to do, and so eventually, I just decide to yank, and my lips just like rip clean off, like super bad. I don't even think I don't know. I can't think of any damage I've ever had on my lips that were anywhere near that bad. But you know, guess that's to be expected. Ooh, I got killed super fast on that one. Maybe I shouldn't go bouncing away on those drums like I was. Alright. Oh, I thought I had him. Alright. Anywho, but then, you know, that spring, the tools moved away, and I was super sad. But it turned out they only moved like, I don't know, like a mile away. So we decided to go visit them. My mom was like, oh yeah, we'll go for a visit. And so, you know, we didn't have I mean, we had one car. It was an old, you know, Ford Pinto, those ones that like to explode. Yeah, those ones. And that was, you know, my dad used that to get to work. And so, and this is, you know, right out of college, so he's only been working for, you know, I don't know, as long as we've been in Minnesota, so I guess a few years at this point, probably a couple years. What's that about? Oh, nice. So, we just walk there. So all the time we would walk. Like we would walk to the swimming pool. It was more like a pond, but you know we'd just walk everywhere. So we walked down to their house. It's actually on the way to the swimming pool. The swimming pool was probably like, I don't know, a mile and a half away. Anywho, we get to their house, and they're so excited to show us that they have a real house, not a trailer, right? Like, and I didn't even realize that, like, trailers weren't real houses. I was like, oh, you know, like, a house is a house. And so they tell me, they're like, wait, no, because in this house, you can go in the roof. I'm like, what do you mean you can go in the roof? They're like, you can go inside the roof. I was like, nuh-uh. And so they take me upstairs, and they show me the attic, right? So there's, like, this little crawl space attic, and, aim for the ground, okay. So there's this little crawl space attic, and they, you know, they let me up there. I'm like, oh, sweet, right? But they don't, like, tell me, I've never even heard of an attic, so I don't know what it does, right? And they don't tell me how attics work. So I ended up just running straight across the attic, which, you know, if any of you have ever done that, that's not exactly the smartest thing, because attics have like certain rafters, right, that you can stand on, and then in between it's basically just what you call it, just insulation, right? It's nothing else. And I didn't realize this, and so I go running, and again, exactly what you think is probably gonna happen, and I fall through their roof into their second floor. How am I supposed to get her? Oh, there we go. So yeah, I completely fall through the roof of their new house. It probably, you know, it's not like a brand new house, it's an old house, but to them it's new. I fall through the roof, break through the sheetrock, and land. I think I actually ended up landing on the bunk bed in one of their bedrooms. And needless to say, my parents were not too happy about that. Hold A1 to glide. Oh. Alright. How do I get some height, though? Hey, oh cool, so I finally have the glide ability, the thing that I've been trying to do this whole time. Sweet, okay, nice. That will make things a lot easier, because I just couldn't seem to untrain myself that glide wasn't a thing, so I'm glad I finally have it. I was a little worried that maybe it wasn't going to happen until, Rayman Legends, because I can't always keep those two distinct in my mind, right? They're fairly similar to each other in gameplay, and, in visual style. Alright. So yeah, I broke through their roof, which, unfortunately, as we get deeper into these themed stories, you're going to find that me breaking through roofs is not a unique event. Yeah, we did it! Man, I don't think I got tons of looms. Maybe I did. Oh man, so close. If I was paying a little more attention, I could probably glean the looms. When I played this for myself, I actually would play every level twice in a row, right? Because then it's fresh in your mind, you can go back to the game and gather more looms. But, if we get stuck, we'll do a little grinding, we'll see. But if we don't get stuck, then we won't worry about it. Alright. And the other weird thing was, so in Minnesota, we didn't have a TV, so I don't know where I saw, maybe we had a TV at the end. I don't know, maybe I just saw it at a friend's house. Ooh, unlocked a treasure in Gibberish Jungle. Nice. But there was this really weird TV station called, like, Pinwheel TV or something like that. And it had all these shows on it that, like, retrospectively are some of the creepiest shows I've ever seen, right? Like, there's this mannequin that comes to life at night, but he's trapped inside of the mall. They're supposed to be, like, educational because they, like, teach you different things, right? Leave no stone unturned, okay. Cages full of limbs need saving. Bubbleize all the creatures guarding a cage. Alright. Am I supposed to break through there? I don't know. Alright. Oh, nice. It makes music as I... Oh. Oh. What do they do? Okay, they kind of give you a little bit of a launch, it looks like. Oh, that one got too high for me. Oh. Okay, so don't ground pound the noses of the birds. They apparently don't like that. Do they just keep going down? Is that what they do? Okay, so they can't handle you standing on them for very long, it looks like. Okay, good to know. Alright. What was I talking about? Sorry, I got a little distracted actually playing the game that I'm playing. Already talked about me breaking through the roof there. Then what did I go on to? Oh well. What's this about? Oh, okay, so that turns on or off the note things. Oh, those are good things, those aren't bad things. They bounce me, it looks like. Can I bounce on him? I don't think I want to be up here, do I? Oh, man. I took off too quickly. There we go. But as much as, trailer parks lead to some interesting things like, having someone shoot their gun at you, they're also fascinating places to live because, like, I had so many friends, whereas my kids now, like, we don't even know our neighbors hardly, right? Which is too bad, but... am I supposed to kill this guy? I'm a little worried there's going to be, like, no ground, and so I just have to, like, time it right to kill each of these guys now that I can float. I assume. We'll see. So, for example, there was that park close by that, that was pretty fun, apart from, the P-slide. But, there was always kids to play with. Oh, the TV station. That's what I was talking about. Oh, that weird TV station. Okay. So, there were all these things that I didn't even realize were real. I thought I had, like, dreamed them up when I was a kid. And now that I've YouTubed them, I've found out that they're real. There's that mannequin show. But then there's also, like, this weird, creepy puppet show. If you Google Pinwheel TV, I'm sure you will find, like, the creepy and then Creepy Puppet Show. I'm sure you'll find them because they were super creepy and super easy to find. And then that Mannequin Show was maybe not quite as creepy, but still fairly creepy. And then on that, there's a show that I kind of like now, but it's super creepy. It was The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. So it was, well, that's not what it's called exactly. It's like Mark Twain's Air Machine or something like that, or The Adventures of Mark Twain and Tom Sawyer or something like that. And it's claymation, and some of you may already know what I'm talking about, but it's got all sorts of creepy stuff, including Satan. Like, they go to this part, oh no. They go to this part where, like, they hop in the elevator, and there's this weird claymation creature that greets them with a creepy voice, and he doesn't want to, like, tell them what's going on exactly, but, you know, he shows them that, like, what does he show them? He shows them, like, a bunch of little claymation creatures that he creates, and they're having fun, they get to create some, and then he kills them all, right? And he's like, oh yeah, you know, I'm the Dark Angel, I'm Satan. And you're like, what the? How is this a real show that, like, little kids could see, right? Like, it was the creepiest thing I'd ever seen. And so I thought I dreamt it up, that it was just a dream. Until, again, like, eventually I got old enough to go, I wonder if that was a real thing. And I YouTubed it, and sure enough, crazy as it was real. So comment down below if you have any crazy things like that you remember, you know, like, that you just thought couldn't possibly be real, but then when you check them out as an adult, they were, in fact, real. Because I think there's more of them than we realize, right? Like, the number of creepy shows is just great. I'm not going to get that claim because I don't have a heart and I think I'm going to hurt. I wasn't quite getting the height I needed to get it. Oh, there we go. Well, I'll go back. And I know there were some other shows like that. I just can't remember off the top of my head which ones were super creepy. But, like, yeah, there was all sorts of ones that I saw as a kid that I just didn't believe were real, because no one would make a kid's show like that. I remember there was I think it was a Care Bears movie even. It was just super creepy. But it wasn't obvious until, you know, you grew up and you're like, oh yeah, that was in fact creepy. I think I can get up here. There we go. Nice. Alright, I'm not sure how long I want to make these episodes. Again, maybe next time I'll prepare a little better what I'm going to say for the trailer tales. I don't know. We'll see. I don't know how to kill this guy. Alright, I wasn't sure what was on his head. I wasn't sure if I'd seen one of those guys yet. But there's just so many of these weird stories that I'm sure I should write them all down so that going into this I have, you know, a few top of mind that I can speak to a little more cogently. Rather than just rambling old man style. But, you know, let's face it, I'm an old man. I'm pushing 40 bit. Yes, I'm going to make that joke repeatedly because that's my thing. No. When we came up with the name for pushing 40-bit. It was kind of a collaborative effort. We were just kind of trying on different names for size, seeing what we liked. And when we got to pushing 40-bit, we just all three of us laughed, and so that's how we chose the name. And I mean, at the time, one of us, you know, wasn't even quite 35 yet, but that only lasted for a few months. And so, you know, now we're all closer to 40 than 30. But, you know, not by a lot. We've got a few years where the name will make perfect sense, because we'll be pushing 40 for a few years. But we'll see what happens, you know, if this is successful and we, you know, pass 40, maybe we'll change our name. Maybe we'll be pushing 50-bit, or over 40-bit, who knows. Alright, how many looms did I get? Not enough for the 300 mark. Dang it. Well, or electoons, sorry, not looms. Looms are the creatures I'm getting to gather the electoons, which you get if you pass certain levels, or certain thresholds of success. Alrighty, I think we'll probably call it there. Let's go. We got a few minutes here. Let's go back to the jungle and see what new characters we've unlocked. That could be fun. Oh wait, X the snowy tree. Oh sweet, I don't have to take the map back. All right, so we've got Ooh, this guy's new. It's a Rayman looking wizard. He's wearing the same outfit as Rayman. Sweet. Everybody loves Rayman. Look at the schnoz on this guy. This clearly like a Ray Romano character, right? I don't think I can do a Ray Romano impersonation. Let's see. What's something he would say? I haven't watched that show in ages. I mean, it was a long time ago. But, you know, if you just get a bunch of spit in your mouth and then kind of talk really nasally, that's the Ray Romano impersonation, right? Win or lose. Well, I don't know what this is. Well, let's call it there. I've been Cynic Placebo. This has been Rayman Origins. Go ahead and play this with us. This is the game of the month for Pushing 40-Bit, so we'll be playing this all June. And then once June's over, we will do our episode about the review of Rayman Origins, who we recommend it for, whether we like it, whether we don't. So yeah, we always encourage you to pick up these games, play them with us. We'll announce them in advance. So when we're about halfway through June, we'll announce July's game. We haven't decided yet what it's going to be. But I hope you enjoyed this, and until next time, I've been Cynic Placebo. Play more games.